Welcome to this week's episode of Your Stock Request for the 7th of March. Hi, I'm Michael Gable, Managing Director at Fairmont Equities. Your Stock Request is the weekly video where I take your requests and analyse the share price charts. So this week we have Coles, Mineral Resources, Zip, Karoon Energy and Bannerman Energy. So if you have a request, please send it through. Make sure you've signed up to our free newsletter, but our best stock tips come out on Tuesday in the Dynamic Investor Report. So please ensure you are subscribing to that report. But if you do enjoy these videos, we'd love you to share them on social media or even leave us a review. Our main business is in portfolio management, so if you'd like my help managing your portfolio, then please give me a call, and all the advice here is general only. We have a weekly chart here of Coles, so as we can see it's pretty much been range bound for a few years now. It's sort of towards the lower end of this range. Just looking at the daily chart, so this gap up was a positive because as we could see there was a very clear resistance level here, so it's gapped up on good volume, has come back recently to test that breakout. So I think ultimately as long as it can hold around these sorts of levels, that would be a good sign, and it would suggest that that's your base, and it would suggest that it could then improve from there. Okay, Mineral Resources. So this one's been pretty tricky to trade, to be honest. There's been a number of sort of breaks that have been sort of false breaks and the like. So for example, you've had this sort of situation here where it sort of broke under support and ripped above it, but it didn't follow through, only to fail again. It sort of happened a couple of times, and even recently there was a very clear downtrend line, sort of broke above that, only to again fail, go to a new low, and now we've got what's potentially another sort of false break here. So it's been dumped on big volume only to recover, retest it, and trade higher. So look, it is trading pretty well now. Obviously good volumes coming in, nice recovery there yesterday. So doing all the right things, but given how tricky this chart has been, I think you'd want to see it at sort of more above 70. It'd be nice if it can sort of get above that, this high here and all these sorts of turning points, and then it starts to look better. Zip, so obviously if we look at a weekly chart, it's just been a massive sort of capital destroyer over time, but shorter term it's looking good. You've got this trend here and it's been doing the right things in terms of impulsive moves up on good volume, only to ease back on lower volume, and we could see that all along the way. Clearly it's run pretty hard in the short term, so you wouldn't want to be chasing it after it's been up, what's that, sort of 6 days in a row. You'd be looking for the next sort of consolidation like this for your entry point. Karoon, if we start with the weekly, we could see that there was a bit of a breakout there last year, only for it to sort of fail to kick on, and it fell back into the range. So looking at the daily chart, starting to look a bit more interesting. So you've had this sort of bounce off the lows here, and then it's sort of eased back sideways and it's starting to get moving again. So it's sort of, I guess, tentative buy here. It looks like it wants to move higher if you could place a tight stop. Clearly there's going to be this sort of $2 level is a bit of a resistance zone, and then again at 210. So you could be looking at those for entry points or sort of to pyramid in, but it does look like it's found a low for the time being. Okay, Bannerman, this one's been a good trading stock. It's been charting well. We've looked at it a few times, sort of consolidation breakout. Last breakout failed. We could see that we had this sort of consolidation here, sort of big breakout here on volume, and obviously it fell back into the range. So that was the failure, and then it's continued to drift lower. Seems to be finding support here, obviously at a major level. So it looks like it wants to head higher. sort of shorter term. Longer term, if we go back to the weekly chart, clearly the old high here near $4, sort of that's where it's pulled back pretty sharply. So I'd be surprised if it can just recover and go up in a straight line from here. I think it'll, if it does bounce from here, it might sort of head back up to $4, might need to just congest under there, and then it can be ready for the next move. And obviously if it gets through that, you've got the next sort of major move. But I think it will need to probably consolidate under $4 first. Okay, well that's all for this week. If you have a request, send it through and we'll try to cover it next Thursday.